I almost said it again, but this is the Fantasy Football Lab. Welcome in, y'all. I am Arlen. This is Nate. How you doing, Nate?
Doing great. You all don't want to know how many tries that took, but welcome to the Fantasy Football Lab in case we have to try it again. Anyway,
It didn't do it
super
justice for anything more than a one.
fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, man, doing good, dude. Excited to get into some wide receiver talk.
Yeah. If you're new to the channel, you haven't watched one of our videos, or maybe you just watched one or two of them, we do a lot of different. We start out as doing like focused on Dynasty, and then we realized that throughout the season, we just kind of flowed with it, and we really like to talk about all types of fantasy football stuff. So whether it's actual like rankings and pickups and all that type of stuff. And today we're doing wide receiver tier rankings, Dynasty, and then we're going to do another video where we take that Dynasty tier ranking and we'll split it and you can watch it how that changes when we're talking about redraft. But we do a lot of stuff. Like we've done a history of fantasy football, which is a fun episode that we have done like the first one of, and we'll do more in the future of, since we didn't go through the entire history, just that beginning and how it kicked off. We like doing stuff like we call it fancy football, all the football that is like fantasy football that is like vampire leagues and how does that work and all these rule settings and what do we prefer, how would we like, what's our ideal like mock-up. We're thinking about doing like a wish list for sleeper soon. Those type of things we'll do along with redraft, Dynasty, all that normal stuff too. So if you're a sicko, you might find a couple videos here that you like, but today's one of the more classic ones.
Yeah, all that to say, more or less, follow along on our journey because we go through everything.
That's right. We're going to start off with a couple quick questions, but first, a word from our intro.
Welcome to the
Did it stop playing? That was
It stopped
aggressive.
playing.
Well, to the fantasy, you know what? Our drop couldn't even get the name of the podcast right, which, by the way, that was the issue with the recording. It's a dope drop. You'll see it at the end, so I guess you got to stay the whole way. But if you have watched a couple of videos, if you like this one, throw the subscribe or like in there, and honestly, even more than that, throw a comment out there. If you had a different opinion, you want to talk it through, we have to date answered 100% of the comments that have come into our videos. So we're always looking out for it and looking for engagement. That's why Nate and I did this. It was just us talking about this stuff anyways, and one day we hit record. Uh, First question, Dynasty Superflex, which I'm not sure if this one means too much for Superflex or not, but 12-team PPR. Who would you prefer out of these four players? And if you feel bold, you can rank it. Lad McConkey, Marvin Harrison Jr., Garrett Wilson, or JSN?
Okay, all right. Not feeling bold enough to rank it right now. Not going to be a homer in the moment, though I would like to be, but I'm going to stay true. Will I? See, as you asked that question, I'm already re-ranking the ranks we haven't talked about yet. But I think I would grab Garrett Wilson out of that. Think Garrett Wilson.
Really? Okay.
Who are Garrett, Ladd, Marvin, who?
JSN.
Jason. Okay. Nope, not gonna do it. Okay, Ladd McConkey. I would grab Ladd McConkey as my guy there.
That
I
was
couldn't do it.
close.
I really tried really hard to think about it and try to not be a homer. But it does actually make the most sense to me, right? Ladd is going to be the guy there. Mike Williams just retired, answering that question for everybody. They don't have solid weapons. And yes, I know it's Jim Harbaugh offense. Yes, I know they're going to run the ball like crazy, but he is the target until proven otherwise. In LA, I still say, as a Chargers fan, still hate saying LA, but he is the target to have out there. Garrett Wilson, we don't know. I know he just signed. I know the talent is immense and it's crazy. He's my number two out of that group. Then probably JSN. Then, until proven otherwise, Marvin Harrison.
This is a great question for today because it's really tough. And I looked at what I was looking at when I did the tiers, and I really hit them all. They're all next to each other in the tier, and I didn't put them in a ranking with it, but they're all next to each other in the same tier. And I would have to go. Marvin and Ladd are they're pretty tough, but one of them are one of them are two. I'm gonna go Marv. Because he didn't have as horrific of a season as it felt. It was mostly the hype. So, and
Yeah.
he has all those stats still that were incredible. And I think he's one step above Lad. but I wouldn't be surprised if that one was wrong by the end of it. So I go Marvin, Ladd. I think I'll go Garrett Wilson and JSN, but I think both of that could switch too by the end of the season. Or honestly, within the first couple weeks of the season, I could switch that. They're so tight though. I mean, if I had JSN, I would trade him for Garrett Wilson. If I had Ladd, I would probably trade him for Marvin, but I wouldn't be the one sending it. If that
I know
makes
this
sense.
doesn't play into like the projections for this year, but of the four you just gave, from a fantasy points perspective, what do you think their fantasy points scored last year in order was?
In order?
Yeah.
Okay, I would say, geez, that is tough. I would say Ladd as the top, maybe JSN, but I'll say Ladd, JSN, Marvin, Garrett, or Garrett, Marvin. I'll do Garrett then Marvin.
Okay, so last year, if I'm looking at the stats correctly, the top of the list is actually JSN with 228 fantasy
Okay.
points. Garrett Wilson with 226, not too far behind. I'd to scroll down a bit here. 220, so 6 points less, a little bit, and then way down, Marvin Harrison, 182 points.
Okay.
So it went
All
JSN,
pretty
Wilson,
tight. Marvin a little below, yeah.
Yeah. So it was an interesting look at.
It is. I liked this other question for Dynasty. Never mind the 8-person first year Dynasty League, but as a startup, Bo Nix is Bo Nix a safe QB1 for my team? Depending on where you can get him, I guess. But I would feel fine with him. He's probably one of my top 5 favorites for a startup to grab. Maybe top 8. And then should I prioritize wide receiver and running back? And that's really the one that I really wanted to touch on. So,
did you say 8-person league is the question?
yeah, that's what I wanted to I just read it and I was like, we need to move past that part. But I mean, sometimes honestly, it's better to create a dynasty league with 8 people that really, really care than trying to force it with some people who are not going to make the league good. But wide receiver is what that's my short answer. If you've listened to any of our stuff before, you kind of know how we feel on it. Wide receiver, especially for that startup, is key, especially if there's like some like solid commodities. You don't have to go with the absolute youngest, the first year, second year. You can go to like the best available that is like more certain, or you can take the shot at some of the younger guys. But there's a ton of rookies last year that aren't going to their second year that I would love to have as my wide receiver one.
Yeah, for sure. Depending on where you are, we are always a lean wide receiver here on this podcast until proven otherwise. But unless you are in love with one of those, I would say 3 that we talked about in our running back dynasty rankings last week. Teaser, go check that episode out if you haven't yet. But if you aren't grabbing Bijan or Jahmyr Gibbs as kind of your hero running back to start, focusing on those wide receivers for sure. There's an ask about that 8 team because it's like, I don't know if I'd want Bo Nix in an 8 team as my QB1, but.
Yeah, that's true. As a QB1, that's probably it. I said about top 8. So like you can grab anyone you like, it sounds like. But so I would say the other piece with the running back is as long as the hero is a good call out. If you're going to hero it, sure. There's a couple people the couple wide receivers that I would take for sure over the top 2 in this, which would be like Bijan, Gibbs, maybe Genty. We went through our running back tier last week, so you can check that out. We have Dynasty and Redraft. But it's also like the longevity of like, you can get a Henry instead, like really late. You're going to see that these running backs that are older, Mixon, Pollard, like Jacobs, these guys are going to go later, and you can really take advantage of like loading up on some really good prospects and really good talent at the other positions, and then hit those guys up late. And then you can make moves, because a year from now, people are going to be much more into trading for these wide receivers and giving you a haul if you really become desperate. But also, if it just gets you through the year, you have all of your picks for this upcoming rookie draft in 2026, where you can kind of stash a couple more and see what happens. I think you got another couple of years with all those guys, but that's about it.
Unless you trade away all your picks during the season, which some folks do. But that's fine, because you probably traded them for a couple of running back options.
Yeah, super did. Okay, that being said, let's get into those actual wide receiver tiers. I'm gonna share this tier here. It's a shout out to what was this person's name, because the other one I had to like add a lot in, and it saved me a lot of time. Lucas Cast on Tier Maker. Appreciate I know you're listening because dozens of people might be. All right, here we go. So we joked about this, and I apologize, but I still had to do it in the end. Chase, I have to put in a tier of his own. I'm gonna find him. The only complaint I have is there's too many players here. But Chase, I have on a tier of his own. I would trade Justin Jefferson, and I would trade CeeDee Lamb or Neighbors. Any of those guys, I would trade for Chase. So I really have to I would do them and something. Actually, I traded CeeDee Lamb before Chase's year last year, and a first to get him. And I'm not that far off now. I still really like him above the other guys. It really comes down to that quarterback certainty.
Yeah, I'm with you there. This is not the ranking system I use because I didn't cheat the system and create my own tiers for this. So I'm S3F on my page, but totally get it. Yeah, Chase is, I think, the consensus number one. He's who I would put if I had a solo tier, one guy by himself. It's Chase and everyone chasing him. So
did you feel nice? Did you feel some kind of way putting Justin Jefferson, maybe not Justin Jefferson, but CeeDee Lamb and Neighbors or whoever you have in S tier? Did you feel some kind of way putting him with Chase?
No, I knew that there was a gap, but I would still put them as an elite. Like if I walked out of my startup draft and I had Justin Jefferson, I look at these folks that I would not be surprised are the number one overall scoring wide receiver at the end of the season, and it wouldn't be a question if they were likely going to be Chase, but Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb I think would be right there. And I think that's how I define S tier. Folks that these guys, relatively equal opportunity to be the number one overall wide receiver at the end of the year, with Chase maybe being a slight cut above, but I have no problem putting them all together in one tier and not creating my own. But I follow the rules, that's how I'm built.
I have a little more fear with CeeDee Lamb. I don't know with the change at offensive line and just I don't know. There's also something that I can't define that I wasn't comfortable with him on my team. He's proven himself, but there's still not that feeling of
it's because it's the Cowboys and it's still the Cowboys.
Maybe it is.
I mean, you've got a healthy Dak. And then he's actually got some help to hopefully, depending on personality issues, sure, pull some of the defense over. So he's not going to be doubled up as much, hopefully. And I think he's just going to have a lot more opportunity there than he's had with the struggles of previous years when he's had folks like Cooper Rush thrown to him.
I'm not calling for this, but my hot take would be that CeeDee Lamb falls out of the top 5 for this year. Just redraft.
Interesting.
I'm adding Neighbors in this tier. Did you have Neighbors in the same one?
I have Neighbors in A, actually. So my 3, this also, it makes more sense for you since you pulled Chase up a tier to have 3 in the S tier. I think is my quote unquote top 3 that aren't named Jamar Chase for you. So that makes sense. I'm good either way. I have him at the top of my A tier. His quarterback play is going to be questionable, but it wasn't great last year and he did what he did. So we'll see who's throwing to him because I don't think we still don't know, right? Who's throwing to him this year?
I think Russell Wilson, but I think Dart's going to take over pretty quick. I think they had the number 1 hardest schedule this year, which is just wrong. But they're going to
it's unfair.
It's just mean. But I think that it's going to be pretty quick that they move away from him. And I don't expect great things from a rookie quarterback, but that could happen. And at the very least, if he ends up being a decent quarterback, then it's more about that future anyways. But I think, he showed last year with a few different quarterbacks that he could still produce, which there's not many people outside of tier S that I could imagine doing what he did under the same circumstances. The top of my tier A is your boy, Uka Nakua.
All right.
was it Sean Tucker I traded away to get him, or to give, I traded away Sean, or him to get Sean Tucker from you,
Yep.
right after the
Yep.
rookie draft,
Yeah.
like an idiot.
I
Okay,
wish you
cool.
had left that out and said didn't call out that it was right after the rookie draft. Yeah.
No, I need to
For
call that.
context, for
After the first
context, Puka
season.
was on my big board. Arlen grabbed him around earlier than I expected, but was able to pull off a trade. Straight up, I think it was just straight up Sean
It was
Tucker
straight
for
up, yeah,
Puka.
because you picked up
Yeah.
Sean Tucker around earlier, and that's what I wanted, so I threw it out there, and he took it, and I was excited. That's cool. Okay, so next to him, and maybe above Puka for me, but since we're talking tiers, I guess I don't really have to define that. I'll put Nico Collins.
Okay.
I like Nico, I think, more than Puka, but I would be happy with either of them in the same place.
I can see that. I might put Nico ahead of Puka only because, Puka's a beast and he's going to do what he does. He's kills it out there, but we don't know how much longer we have Stafford, right? We're talking about a quarterback room that includes Matt Stafford, Jimmy Garoppolo, and the ghost of Stetson Bennett, which is crazy to say because he never played, but that's the quarterback room, right?
Yeah.
So something goes wrong. We don't know what's going to happen there with Puka, and is Stafford and the system what making Puka and maybe Cup great back in the day? Hard to tell. We'll see when Cup starts catching passes in Seattle. But yeah, that's the only reason I'd put Nico maybe above him.
I'll go St. Brown, and the other person that I have in that, the other dude I have in the same tier is. Did you look at mine, or are you waiting?
I did not look at yours. I'm sitting waiting. I didn't send you mine, so I didn't look at yours. Just to be fair,
Brian Thomas Jr. I would also put in the same piece. Hunter coming in is something, but I don't think it's enough of a something to. I mean, that guy, he showed that he's built different. I don't think that's going to go. I don't think that's going to go away. I mean, some of the opportunities, yeah, but it might be one of the situations where they can, a Higgins Chase thing where they can both eat. It's not a Burrow situation though, so that's the problem. But long term, I don't know. We'll see.
I will say that I went like super deeper on my A tier. I just looked at it and I have 8 people up here, which is probably too many. So I probably combined your A and B into one.
Probably. Who else do you have in your?
So up here is where I have that stack of folks that you called out earlier. So I have this is also where I have Ladd. I have Garrett Wilson, and I put Drake London up here, and I can probably be talked out of it. But I have them all in my A.
Marvin,
Ladd, Garrett, Drake, and Marvin. Yes. Actually, Marvin's not that up there because I had Brian Thomas Jr. So let's talk about Brian Thomas Jr. because he did have the better year, I think.
Huh?
He's not, and maybe there's a little like bias in my head
you were
against
trying to
him.
go between the two of them, and it was hard for you to decide. That tells me they're the same tier.
I was having a hard time between Ladd and Garrett when we were talking about it earlier.
Oh, okay.
Marvin was the bottom of my 4. And he was the top of your 4, which was finally we don't agree. We tend to agree too much on these things, so I'm glad that we didn't hear. But we've also not agreed about Marvin Harrison and Ladd McConkey for more than a year now. But yeah, with Brian Thomas
up there and probably Garrett as well.
Yeah, I think Ladd McConkey versus Brian Thomas Jr. because I think that's the conversation, right? Like they're the two coming into their sophomore campaigns, whereas the argument I made earlier, where Ladd they got Trey Harris or whatever right now, but he's not coming in with the hype that Travis Hunter's coming in with. I believe, and this is a homer in me, that he's got better quarterback play than Brian Thomas has got with Trevor Lawrence. And I think that
accurate.
Travis Hunter is going to eat more into what BT did last year than Trey Harris is going to eat into what Ladd's going to do. So I think it puts them more on an even playing field. I'm not saying that Ladd over BT, but I'm saying at least makes them closer and able to put them in the same tier.
Fair. I think the person that I also had in tier B that I might want to, since it was part of that discussion too.
Yep.
Would you think in tier A?
Yeah, that's.
Okay.
That was the other
Then
person
we're
I was
gonna
just
keep
like,
Marvin all the way down here. All right.
well, you had him
Nice.
in B anyway, right?
Yeah, I did. I just now that you're bumping up everyone else, I'm getting jealous. I mean, okay, so we're gonna revisit that one just as we did with the running backs, where the question is asked after we put everyone in. Is there anyone in tier A you would trade to get Marvin? Is there anyone that you would trade Marvin to get in tier B? All right. So the rest of my tier B, I've got AJ Brown. All right, AJ Brown, and then I've got I actually have Devonta Smith. I wouldn't be mad at somebody in redraft for going either one
Interesting.
first.
Yep. Okay.
I think this is like an example of where it would change for redraft, but I think for Dynasty, I get grabbing either of one of those. Drake London, I have in this same tier. Dude, where's Drake
Only other.
London?
Oh, is that what I was like waiting for you to keep talking? It's black and red. There, second row, next to the Saints to the right. There you go.
All right, Drake London. I also have I have Higgins in this tier as well.
Yep.
And I've got I don't. This is the one I'm least confident in. I have
Oh, interesting.
Wordy in here.
Okay.
I don't think I actually put Rice in. Oh, I did put Rice in the same tier. Another thing like the Eagles, I have those two, and then we can kind of talk about it after this. I've got
The last one I have that you don't have is
down. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I was interested there. The only one that you have missing in B from me is I have Scary Terry up there.
You do.
I do.
Interesting. Okay, let me get the rest
Scary Terry. Oh, okay. Well, you have Hunter there. Okay.
I've got Hunter there, and I've also got McMillan there. T-Mac.
So this is your rookie starter side. Okay.
No, this is all I got in there. Okay, so yeah, over the last 10 years, 100% of the wide receivers that were projected, not ended up being in the 10, but projected to be in the top 10 of the draft, and also were in the real draft. So both projected to be the top 10 and actually were taken in the top 10. 100% of them became like stars. I'm not saying that like it's not hyperbole. It's legit like every single one of them. So I think it's just too good of a stat. Hunter does throw a wrench in the gear of like the defense piece being part of it, but I think he's too dynamic. He's a better wide receiver in my opinion than McMillan. The situation is different. I would probably take McMillan over Hunter in a dynasty or a redraft.
Yep.
But
that's what I was about to say. Yep.
Deserve to be in the same tier.
Okay. I think, Hunter's going against a lot of variables, so his superstar hype is what's kind of driving that message for me. Like, I don't doubt that he could put those numbers up, but I think T-Mac's walking into a situation where he is the guy immediately. Yeah. He has the opportunity to be the guy. It's his job to drop. But whereas with T Hunter, not only is he going in where BT's already established himself, but he's also going into a situation where maybe he's 50-50 right now. I just saw somewhere that I think Schefter posted or someone posted that in training camp right now he's switching days. He's doing a couple of days on offense, a couple of days on defense, like for practices, and we'll see how that shakes out. But like, I'm not saying he can't do it, but that's a lot to think about at the NFL level, right? Like how complicated schemes can be, route trees and all that stuff, and then he's got to worry about the defensive schemes. We'll see how it plays out. I don't think if you're definitely in Dynasty, I can see them being in the same tier. I might drop them down a tier for redraft, but we can talk about that later.
I can go with that. I can go with that. I think that's fair. That's a concession I'll make. So you said you had Scary Terry in that one, right?
I did. Now that he's not reporting, I don't know.
But that's a big part of it for me. I know that's short term, but I just don't know how that's going to end up playing out. So I actually have him in C, and I would say he's probably like the earlier part of C for me. Okay, actually, let's pause here. Marvin Harrison Jr. Is there anyone in this row that you would trade away to get?
In B?
Or would you trade away Marvin to get any one of these guys?
I'm either or on a couple of them. But and this is Nate's like weird preferences coming into play again, but I might trade him away for T-Mac. Just because the potential's there. He's gonna be the guy there. He's representing for my Pacific Islander roots.
Marvin gonna be the guy there?
He's the guy. He's gonna be the guy standing in the open coverage, waving his hand around, waiting for the ball to come his way. That's gonna be the guy he is.
I'm not saying there's not challenges. I don't think you would honestly either. If you had Marvin, I couldn't see you sending a trade for T-Mac straight up.
Yeah. But I definitely wouldn't trade him away. I mean, I definitely would trade him away to get any of the guys in D tier above him, which is why I would have him in B. But
yeah, that's fair then. Yeah, I think that's the right place then. I would probably trade Garrett and JSN and maybe Lad. So for me, he's in there, but they're about the same tier for me. Like this group here is in its own little B tier. A and a half.
You want an 8.5 tier and put all four of them in there. You want all four of them in 8.5.
I'm looking for one more player here for the top or for the C tier, but so far I have McLaurin, Hunter. We talked about these guys. Worthy, Rice, Jameson Williams, Chris Olave, Odunze, and Egbuka. Is there anyone there that surprises you or that you, I don't know, that stood out to you?
No, I might drop Worthy down one, but you just don't know what is going to happen with suspensions and all that stuff with Rice right now. I don't have, so for both of your pairs, for your Eagles pair and your Chiefs pair, I don't have them together. I have them separate tiers.
You have Smith below?
I have Smith down one, and then I have Worthy down one from where you have them. But I can see the Smith AJ Brown one a little bit more. I'm just like, and maybe it's just the recency bias of what it looked like when he was around, but Rashee Rice was dominating those receptions when he was around last year.
It is field stuff where I'm wondering.
Yeah, so he like
that turns into.
Yeah, his target share was insane when he was playing. So we'll see if he just eases right back into that, in which case I would put him a tier above Worthy, but that's where I'm at with him.
I'm good with the Worthy dropping down. I think that's a good call. I've got Jameson Williams there. I could see him go down one for me. Same thing with Olave, but I feel like a lot of that is just disappointment and fear of his concussions. But I think he should be in this tier, rough, but dude. It's a little worrisome. Odunze is still like just the belief, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. That could change pretty quick if it's like he's got so many more people he's got to deal with now than he did last year. So I'm not quite sure how it's going to work out.
Yeah. For me, I feel like, and I was avoiding saying anything because I'm having the weirdest brain fart on the receiver they just grabbed.
Luther Burden,
yeah. So I feel like him and Moore are more similar than him and Odunze. So I feel like,
I agree.
And I think he's going to eat into more of what Moore does, and then Odunze is still going to have an opportunity to shine, be an X guy, and go get it done. And hopefully this is the year for him now that there's more weapons around. But, that's me just speaking that into life, being an Odunze owner with his draft capital being the lowest hopefully it'll ever be. I mean, his trade capital.
Yeah. How old is... I'm getting distracted here. DK Metcalf, it took a while for me to find him because I forgot the color changed to black and gold.
Are you asking how old he is?
This year. No. I was getting distracted. I was thinking about DJ Moore, but we can go on with DK Metcalf first and finish this tier. DK Metcalf, I think. I mean, it's a really good it's a good spot for him. He's kind of like the AJ Brown to me, that type where. And same thing with like Amon-Ra, St. Brown, all in 3 different tiers, but all not very sexy. But they're great players and they can produce.
Right.
I think, and they're undervalued a little bit. not as much Amon Ra, but I think you'll see him undervalued pretty quick once he tears down a little bit. He'll tear down a
Yeah.
lot, kind of like AJ Brown. It's just not that sexy player. And it's the same here with DK Metcalf. He's just not looked at a certain way for some reason, and I think he has the potential to bump up a tier.
Yeah, with how consistent he can be, how strong he is, where else is the Pittsburgh quarterback room? And I'm saying it that way for on purpose, but where else is that quarterback room going to look? Right, like there's nowhere else for the ball to go, like other than for consistency purposes. So yeah, DK's gonna he has no choice but to eat this year.
Yeah, especially once Pickens left, it was pretty open for him. Yeah, I'm excited to see him play. I'm excited for Garrett Wilson to go after Aaron Rodgers too. That'll be fun. Not Garrett Wilson. Miles Garrett. All right, so we got Mbuka. I think he's a high enough caliber player that, and it's a big gap between this and redraft, but he's got a potential standout this year, but take over completely as the number one for lights out Baker Mayfield. So I think I couldn't put him any further down than this. Do you have him in the same tier, or is there anyone else that you would have?
So I have him down one. I felt like he was the consolation prize of the wide receivers out of this rookie class for if you wanted a top tier rookie wide receiver. I make him look as the guy that you're like, I'm semi-satisfied that I got him.
Trade back in quite a bit to that spot to be able to grab him.
Go grab him. Because it's painfully obvious that you would think that one of these two guys ahead of him are going to get hurt or whatever. And Godwin's out right now, right? Didn't he just get injured or something? I saw some news about Godwin.
I think he's going to be back, but I don't know how there he'll be.
Yeah. But it's more of a testament of what the opportunity that's there for him, right? Like we've seen for multiple seasons in a row, one of those two guys is generally out for a period of time. And someone else gets to eat. And I think in Emeka Egbuka, it's not going to be like who is stepping up. I think he's the obvious guy that gets to benefit from that. Versus in previous years, you never knew who it was going to be. So I can see him being in that tier. I have him a tier down, but I'm buying him at C for sure.
Another thing that we've seen year after year recently is Ohio State wide receivers coming out and killing it. So I have him locked in this one. I'll fight you for that. I'll die on that hill.
I already consented, bro.
Like, so is there anyone else
where are we?
Have here that's missing, or somebody here that you would drop down?
So the only two that I have in that tier that you don't have, and maybe it's because he's on my team, but I have Jordan Addison up there, and I have Zay Flowers up there.
Isn't Addison going through some issues right now?
Yeah, but he's not on the same tier as like Rice's issues, right? He's paying a $300 fine and on probation. So I think he's going to be I think the looming, like they're looking at like, hey, what's the minimum that's probably expected here? And he'll probably get a 3-game suspension.
I think, yeah, it's not that. It's just that things happen with him. I will move Olave down because I just asked in my head, is there anyone up here that I would trade, that I wouldn't trade away to get, like I wouldn't trade Addison away to get one of these guys. I would rather have everyone in this tier except for Olave. I was on the fence on, but I still think I would trade Addison away for Olave. You've got a questionable quarterback situation, even though he's supposed to be great, but we don't know yet. And then a superstar, not just a like AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Rice, Worthy, Evans, and Godwin and Mbuka. You've got Justin Jefferson there and a rookie quarterback. So it might be a couple years. And we keep saying that, and it's starting to be like the Waddle situation for me.
I was wondering where Waddle's would come into play here for you.
You know what? He's going to come right next to Addison.
Yeah, I have him as a D2, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I have him in that potential great talent, young, but there's somebody else there. If Olave didn't have the concussion worry right now, I would probably jump him up, but he's got all these other issues of being a questionable quarterback. We don't know who it is yet, but then also the concussion piece. and he seemed to have trouble with a pretty decent tier, like a normal game manager quarterback. So an unknown rookie, like not a rookie that's good enough to know who it is going to be tough. So I'm putting him in that tier. What else do I have here? I've got Judy here.
Okay, yeah, I've got Judy there. Agreed.
And
I've
then
got
who else?
I've got Evans there.
Oh,
and then where do you have Tyreek?
You know what? Both of them I have on the one after F. Is that bad?
So define your so
here. Let me finish.
Fringe.
Two more people on.
Yeah,
one,
do your thing. Yeah, do your thing because I've got questions now.
So I've got Ayuk here.
Okay.
He's like loosely on here, and I've got Pearsall right next to him. One of them will fall out. This is not just Pearsall. You know how I feel about Pearsall.
This is your love affair with Pearsall. Yeah, no.
This is not me wishing it into existence. I look at them the same. We've got this guy coming back. It's going to take him a while, and he has an opportunity to take something from it, and I think he's good enough to. I think there's a strong possibility that he should not have been paid, and we'll see what happens. But I've got them both next to each other.
Just as a pause here, that Niners wide receiver room, man, like they cannot catch a break, dude. So my Mr. Irrelevant in our draft. So for our rookie draft last year, I grabbed Jacob Cowing. I was like, oh, cool, he's gonna get reps with Purdy, and then he pulled his hamstring today.
Yeah, Pearsall has a hamstring
that rim,
too.
Yeah, they can't catch a break, man.
No, they can't. It's John Jennings who won't show up because he wants a contract, which obviously great time to do it. You should get paid because they have no one else to play. All right, so how I'm defining these last two ones, really in the F1, it was a lot of them were I'm looking at my list now, but a lot of them were like they're close to being good. Like they're right on that edge there. I could see it happening either way. They've been in a couple of years, but they're like solidified at probably at the very least a flex player who still has potential, or on the upper side of flex, and I have extreme confidence in them, and they're like older, like a Devontae Adams. I'm like, I have confident you're a flex play, most likely. But I would also consider popping him down one. I have younger players that are not going to break out past that, like Jacoby Myers, that I could see being in this tier that I have in the F tier. Zay Flowers, where there's a lot of concerns, but there's still that inkling of, and I don't know where he's going to fall, but there's still that inkling like it's possible. And then I have my higher, I've got my higher level or thought of like Trey Harris, the rookies that I feel I'm more confident in. I've got Higgins in this one. I'm pretty confident in Higgins. I think he's solid. I put Kyle Williams in here. I don't know if I really want to keep Kyle Williams in here. He probably goes down one.
Matthew Golden. Did you put Golden here?
I put Golden in the next one because
of how stacked that room is.
That actually, it's funny because the one that's doing it, like, it's
stacked might have been a strong word.
Yeah. How crowded is the word you're looking for?
Yeah, crowded's the word. Yeah.
So I had him down here, and I had the other two here. I feel like they get first crack at it, but I could also see all of the. I could just see this being the depth chart for the for the Green Bay Packers. Okay, who else do I have? I mentioned Zay Flowers in F. Josh Downs was one of the names that I felt good with putting in F. There's still like that. There's that potential that he takes another step up. I don't think that's too outlandish. I'll put Devontae Adams. I would be willing to move Devontae Adams down because he's like him and Ridley are the ones that are holding me back from saying this is all young potential people. So I could be ageist here. This is actually also where I have Jordan Addison. I have him in my F tier, and I said Myers. So
I've got.
I think that's all.
I've got Myers there. Where did you put Shakir anywhere?
I put Shakir.
I have Shakir
in where I don't see the potential of them jumping up a level, but I see them as starters that can contribute. Like Shakir, Shaheed, I also put in that tier as well, where I I think that there'll be many times throughout the year where they're consistently flex worthy, but they're never going to jump up to a couple tiers. I don't have that confidence in them.
A little crazy to me that unless you're just waiting to talk about him, that Tyreek isn't on the board anymore.
I put Tyreek in my fringe. The reason I did.
So, yeah, talk to me. Let me know.
It's a mix of a lot of concerns. There's Tua concerns. There's just Miami offense in general concerns. They seem to have figured them out. There's also a lot of rumors of him being traded, then a lot of rumors of him retiring, then a lot of rumors of him. There's just too many variables where I'm okay not. If I could say he's got 2 years left as Tyreek Hill or a year left as Tyreek Hill, even I could put him in F. But I don't know if he's got a month or if he's going to pull Antonio Brown, who cost me a title because in the title game he took his shirt off and left the game, and I needed 3 points. And he took his shirt off and left. And I could see not Tyreek going that extreme, but just drama that he ends up retiring early because he's done with that shit or something like that.
So if we're recalibrating this for redraft, you would still have him down in that fringe tier because of what you just said.
I would take more of a gamble on him because it's more likely than not that this year you'll get something out of him. But I find it's still a possibility that you don't, and all the other stuff that makes me feel like it's not very possible. It's more than a year or so.
Got it. The only other people that you don't have on the board that I was curious, George Pickens for me, I had actually in my D tier.
I actually did too. I missed him. Probably because I traded him away, and I'm sad about it. So I'll put Pickens up there. I just needed another quarterback. Yeah. I have Besh in my fringe.
Okay.
I really like him.
I can see that. I have him unranked, but I buy that.
He could immediately be somebody, I think.
I mean, he's only when you think about it, he's only fighting Jacoby Myers, and to your point, Jacoby's not going to go up with level.
He's a great quarterback. Like Geno Smith is a great quarterback.
For fantasy purposes, sure.
And real life, he is a great quarterback. He's definitely fantasy, but I think he's been top 10 for 3 years now, or top 12 at least for 3 years in fantasy, and then I think in general he's been able to supply wide receivers. So I have Tillman though in this range too, where there's Judy's for sure a couple above him, but Tillman has the ability and he has a skill set and chance to, if one of the 17 quarterbacks we have is something, then he has the ability to be a 1B. Because I'm not completely convinced that Judy is the real deal. Jameson Winston will mess up your projections. All right. Other guys I like that in this tier that are just dart throws kind of to Slaw, I have in here. I've got Noel in here. We talked about Shakir. Yep. I've got the other Niner down there. I've got Juwan Jennings because he'll contribute. He'll at least be a flex player, but who knows?
I love that there are 0 Denver Broncos in your ranking. I just love that, just as a Chargers fan.
I did put Sutton here as you need a starter flex kind of guy, and I also just didn't really want him to be, so I'd also be okay with removing him as to support my friend. Yeah. All right, let's do it.
To be fair, I have him in my F tier, but I just love that you didn't rank any of them. I tried to at least rank one player from each team, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the official ranking from our podcast to not include a Denver Bronco. That's fair.
I like Hopkins because of Zay Flowers is there. He's good, but I'm not very confident. He's only 1 tier above him for me. So I have the potential of DeAndre Hopkins at least being a flex player for a year or two. I feel pretty confident in that, but he was one of the last people I added. Wasn't really sure if I wanted to put him on. How do you feel about him?
I don't even have him on the board, but I also have Zay and Addison, or Zay up 1. Actually, on my board, I have Zay as a C, actually.
Whoa.
I have both Zay and Addison as a C on mine.
Maybe I'm shitting on Zay too much.
Yeah, he's so shifty out there. He's so fast, and he's playing with some guy named Lamar Jackson. I'm not sure. Questionable quarterback play, but
You're right. You're right. I'm going in between. I'm going to split the difference with you, but I think that's super fair. Does Debo need to be ranked? I don't think so.
Probably not. I mean, I have him in my bottom tier, but it was just out of having him in my bottom tier. Just because
the person I felt guilty about not putting up was
Adam Thielen. I know. No, I'm just kidding.
You'll laugh, man. No, Keon Coleman. I don't want to put him up. He should probably be up on. Where do you have him?
Just realized I don't. The only build that I have on the board is Shakir.
If Shakir is there, we should probably put Coleman. I don't like him.
I put him in.
I feel pretty strongly that he's not. I would try to sell him for anything I could.
I don't want any of that to be true, though, because he's so fun to have in the NFL.
I love the guy. Yeah, I love the guy. I'm with you. One last person I had in here.
The other ageless wonder, Tyler Lockett. I don't have him. I don't have him up there, but
I also don't have Mike Williams.
Well,
yeah,
shouldn't.
All right. Well, that's who I got. Any last minute call outs or changes that you want to argue?
Hard to argue when we use a different ranking system. But that's a lot of guys. So I think that just with how the tiering system, I don't have anyone that I would tier above. If we were talking like rankings one over the other, too much unknowns right now. So I'm good with what we have on the board. I think we talked out everybody that was worth talking out.
All right. Well, next episode, we're going to take this list, start it from here, and we're going to move on to redraft. So we're going to start with this Dynasty one, and we didn't want to do it from scratch with redraft. We wanted to see, like, here's our Dynasty piece, and as we're transitioning into redraft and preparing our minds for that, it's also helpful in Dynasty to say, yes, this is my Dynasty ranking long term, but, like, what do I need to do to go after this year? Because you also might be, your redraft rankings might be closer to the actual rankings for you if you're a contender, because it's really hard to make a ranking in a tier system in Dynasty, because you can bump some of these guys all the way up or some of these guys all the way down. Hampton was a really great example of, if I'd rather have maybe Henry or definitely Barkley or Kyron Williams if I was in redraft, but in Dynasty for sure I want Hampton for myself over those guys. So you have to kind of see if you're in redraft or you're going for a championship, you're going to want those guys over those new, younger, cooler guys. So we'll do that episode next. If you liked it, you're still here, throw a comment and tell us what you would have done differently, who we forgot, the people who we were kind of on the fence here of like putting in or not putting in. Especially, I'm kind of curious on who else you think we missed or misranked. Good talking.
Call us out on disrespect for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And especially if you're a Broncos fan, Nate wants to hear from you. Give him hell. He made me do it. It's not my fault.
I called out what you had already done. Get out of here.
All right, that's true. My media board got completely broken. That's why it didn't work earlier. So this is where I go. You've been listening to the Fantasy Football Lab.